Welcome back to Slasher and the Final Girls. If you are new to us, we do our bi-monthly episodes where the first being our full movie analysis, where our two CSIs dissect those iconic death scenes for us, and I discuss why movies are considered scary. The second one, which you are currently watching right now, is where we discuss what we've consumed all in horror via streaming channels, books, podcasts, whatever have you. And we always start off with our strongest. Austin, what did you watch in the month of May?
I wouldn't say strongest. You could just say guy.
That works.
So I watched a couple, predominantly on Shudder, because that's the easiest one to find more horror movies. So the first one I watched was called Glorious, which had a funny premise of guy trapped in a rest stop bathroom with a god of some sort, demanding him do a sacrifice for him. And the bathroom stall is glory hole adjacent. Funny. That's a funny premise. And then the kicker is that the god is voiced by J.K. Simmons, who's great. I mean, he's Perry in Spider-Man. Everyone loves him. I mean, he's such a great actor. He's a great voice actor. He was in Portal and Portal 2 as the voice of like the main mayor guy or whatever, which was great. It was so recognizable. So that was a funny movie with a good twist of an ending that I didn't see coming. And I watch a shit ton of movies. Sorry. So that was a good one that I recommend. It's funny. Then I also watched Primal Rage from 1986. So not the one from The Rock. That Primal Rage is based off the video game Primal Rage. This one is not talking about the video game. Although it's like still a chimp. All of a sudden, the chimp scratches a human. The human gets a primal rage infection. He's just super violent.
So like the rage virus for some zombies.
But a lot less severe. Like he still has some of his humanity going on. But it's from 86. And it takes place in at a college. But you have to be aware there's just silly gore, some silly little jump scares, but there's a fair amount of things that could trigger the viewer. There's a teacher molesting a student. There's lots of drug use, lots of slurs from men to women. And then the big one was a gang rape, like an attempted gang rape. Like I was very surprised that was even in the movie. So don't watch it if you have any sort of trigger going on, because that one was like shocking. Like all these triggers were happening. And then I watched that was on Shudder, and Kids vs. Aliens, also on Shudder, and that was just fun. Silly, stupid fun. Kids cursing all over the place, dropping F-bombs, saying shit and crap and what a dick, and hilarious. Like brother-sister rivalry, older sister in high school, younger ones in middle school, and so there's that shenanigans going on. And then aliens killing these humans and these kids just cursing up a storm. So that was just fun and silly. Totally set up for a sequel, which is going to be great, I'm sure. That was on Shudder.
Did they actually show some aliens?
Yeah, oh yeah, full on aliens. But they weren't like crazy cool aliens. They were still very humanoid of an alien. So yeah, except they were like a beige color instead. And
we'll take what we can get.
Oh yeah, sure. So that was most of the. No, I still have a new one, which I'll get to after this. Yeah, that's after this. Okay, we'll get there.
Prepare yourselves, people.
Yeah. Anyways, so It's 2023, so it has been 22 years since Jeepers Creepers came out. It came out in 2001, and so I'm getting ready. Next year is going to be the 23rd season, the 23rd spring since the movie came out, and we all know that the demon comes out every 23 years for 23 days, and it gets to eat. So I'm just getting ready for that.
Freaks me out.
No, it was good. It's such a classic. It's very 2000 movie with being really slow. For Everything was one of Justin Long's earlier films in his career, so you can tell he's still coming of age in his expertise. But that was a great movie. I like the franchise. It's total fun. And the whole time I'm watching the movie, I'm thinking, where's the bus scene? Where's the bus scene? That's from one of the sequels. It's not the original. So it's a good series. I'll keep watching that, I'm sure.
Whenever I see someone with like a belly button tattoo, I think of Justin Long.
Yeah, with his rose tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have no idea why that was in the movie. Suns. Yeah. Like, why is that in the movie? Why does he have that? I want to know about that tattoo. Why does he have a rose on his belly button or around it? Like, what's the story? Like, is it because he had a boyfriend? Is it because he had a girlfriend? Is it because he loves his mom? I don't know. So that was.
I haven't watched Jeepers. I need to rewatch it because I feel like we knew, but maybe it was just a weird thing.
Yeah, like. I don't know. But I was also cooking dinner at the time of watching it because I was like, oh, I've seen this movie. So I didn't pay attention to like 15 minutes towards the beginning while I was cooking. So it might have been during then. I'm not sure. But then, okay.
Here we go. Let's do this.
Get ready.
On so Jeepers Creepers was on Prime. Amazon Prime. Hulu has Crimes of the Future. And I'm like, oh, interesting title name. What's it about? Read up the about section. And it says, we're in the future, kind of post-apocalyptic. Humans are able to spontaneously grow new organs. And humans are no longer really able to feel pain. So getting surgery done to remove these organs that are bad, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, but getting rid of the bad ones, they don't need to get numb. The surgery is fine. No one cares. But it's gotten to the point in society that cutting each other gets both of them off. Like, to quote the movie, surgery is the new sex. Right? Okay. Right? I don't understand. And then it becomes this whole art thing where people cut themselves to make a statement about politics and themselves and life and the economy. And they'll get implants, scarification. They'll tattoo the organs that they're removing because they're a brand new organ. It's new art, new life in a sense. And so this one guy, Viggo Mortensen's in this movie, and so is Kristen Stewart. So that also will want you to watch the movie because you're like, oh, Aragorn, I gotta watch that movie. So the main character gets a zipper installed on his stomach, so he has easy access to get to his organs. But then his girl is infatuated with that and starts to make out with his zipper opened. So she's tonguing his freaking organs. And he's like, oh, be careful. And he's getting off on it too. It's like, what? I'm so confused. And then the reason to actually get some guys to watch it is that the girls are topless all the time. It's just like, why? What? All of a sudden you're like, oh, she's fixing a machine. She turns over here, works on something, turns back. Oh, there's two naked ladies in it. But why? Why are they naked in there? I'm so confused. What is going on? And then, here's the kicker. Some things are illegal. So there's the main guy is an undercover agent, and he's working with the police to crack down on the people that are keeping their inhuman organs because that's against humanity, and we got to get rid of that. What? What is going on? And then to prove even more that this is an art film, the last scene of the movie, the guy like he eats something, and it's just so delicious that he looks up into sky, into nothingness, and a tear of joy comes down his face. And this is all black and white, and then it cuts out. That's the end of the movie. It's like, of course, black and white. That way we know it's artistic. Oh my gosh, this movie, Crimes of the Future, is just... I don't understand what's going on at all. Like what? This guy has 20 ears attached to his head, his arms, his stomach, and he gets his eyelids sewn together and his mouth sewn shut. And the audio in the background is, we need to see less. We need to speak less. We need to hear, to listen more. And then he does an interpretive dance for 10 minutes. It's just so ridiculous. I don't understand.
Now I want to watch it just based off your...
Now you're going to watch it. And you're really going to want to just shut it off. Just shut it off.
Good
but no,
Lord.
you're just drawn in because you're like, how could this get crazier? And then there's more.
And then it does.
Yeah, Crimes of the Future on Hulu. I'm sorry.
That was something.
Crime against movies.
It is the crime against movies, yes. Oh my gosh. And it was art. It's art. Why don't you understand it?
Speaking of,
it's art. I feel like this movie would be very accepted in LA. Because have you seen a movie in LA? You haven't seen a movie until you've seen it in LA.
It's so LA.
So LA.
And to my LA friends, we're not including you in this.
No, not you guys. Not you guys. The other.
Oh my gosh.
Is there anything you would like to say to the 58% of people who like this movie before we move forward?
58?
Crimes of the Future?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm glad that some people liked it because it helps all the different actors and their art, because it was art for sure. And it helps them keep doing their own work or their work. Directors, actors, the studio, the caterers, just everybody. Thank you for supporting them.
Always a silver lining. Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you want to hear more, Austin did go on a rant on his TikTok. Which TikTok was this, Austin?
I don't know. Let me look it up.
It was the Faithful Reads account,
Oh.
right?
Faithful Reads. That's like the nickname for the account. What the hell's the actual
You heard it
account?
here first, people. He doesn't just do his rants on YouTube. He also does his rants on TikTok, so find him.
What the hell's
Check
my
it out.
TikTok?
So while
Oh,
we're
Dark
finding that-
Reads. At
Dark Reads.
Dark Reads.
Okay, I'll make sure to link that in the show notes. I feel like I had a little bit of a better month than you did, Austin. Starting off, Consecration was on Shudder, and I felt like it was just in theaters, so I was really shocked that Shudder had a really good month. Not a ton of people liked it. I actually enjoyed it. It's definitely a slow burn. So it's a woman travels to Scotland to look into her brother's death. Her brother happens to be a parishioner. So he's in the Catholic Church, and he apparently harmed himself to his death. And she does not agree with that, and so she starts looking into that, and as she's looking into it, things unfold. There's very religious, spooky elements. I'm very into that right now. I enjoyed it. There's a lot of like super predictable moments. I called the movie halfway through. So it's not something that you're going to be like, wow, twisty and turny, even though there was like that twist. But I think it was an enjoyable film. I recommend it, even though a lot of people have very strong opinions against it. My favorite film that I got to watch, though, was Poison for Fairies, and that's also on Shudder. And it's actually a 1986 Mexican horror film, but it's brand new to Shudder this month. And it was so much fun. It is a lonely child who has the most wild imagination, like children do, navigating a new friendship. Veronica is the lonely child, and she's slowly convincing her friend Flavia that she is a witch. And she's able to do this through coincidental events, manipulating certain behaviors. And it was such like an old school horror movie vibe. If you like The Love Witch, it reminded me a lot of The Love Witch. Granted, The Love Witch was made in the 2000s, and this is very much in the 80s. But it was so much fun. It slowly builds you all the way to that shocking event in the end. But it was just such a fun film to watch. It is a foreign film, so you do need to pay attention to it to understand what's happening, unless you can speak Spanish and understand what's happening. I do not know how to speak Spanish, so I had to pay attention. And then we saw the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards. Apparently this has been going on since the mid-90s. I was thinking this was a newer thing because this is the first year I was able to watch it. It is a response because horror is often snubbed at the famous Academy Awards, and so it's a way to claim it and give out awards for horror films that are great, but are never going to be nominated for an Oscar, nor will win an Oscar. It was cool to see the awards, but the acting was so cheesy for them doing this since the 90s. Was not anticipating as much cheese.
Oh man.
But I mean, it is what it is. I would love to see more serious actors take these awards seriously. So like Mia Goth won an award and did not acknowledge the award according to like what I've been able to look up. Which was kind of a bummer. Same with the cast of Stranger Things who won an award, no acknowledgement, no video. A lot of other individuals who won an award submitted a video to thank for the awards, which I just, at that point, just be there. I think it would make it way more interesting and fun to have everyone there. My last complaint is I feel like Shudder should be able to get the rights to every movie that wins the award, as well as the presenters. Because I've been trying to watch Malum forever, but it's on Apple Plus, and I don't have Apple Plus.
Yeah.
And I just want to watch Malum, and they had someone present for Malum, and I was like, maybe I can finally see Malum, and no such luck. So I'll probably get frustrated and just download Apple Plus and throw a card on it.
Well, just create a new account, use a new email, and try that trial.
Get a free trial. Get a free trial.
Delete it before the trial erupts.
That's what we did for, we watched the Scream Marathon. I found out when, God, it was like 2 weeks ago, that Scott's never seen Scream 2, 3, and 4. And I was like, wait,
what?
Wow.
And so we downloaded Paramount Plus, did the free trial, and did like a movie marathon. It was really cool because we like went across the street to the movie theater, got ourselves a huge bucket of popcorn, and just watched Scream for a weekend.
Screamathon, yeah.
It was, I have never been happier. So much fun.
Nice.
But Paramount Plus has Screams 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. 4 is on Hulu, and I'm not sure rights-wise what happened. But 4, they couldn't get 4 on Paramount Plus.
It's weird.
It is weird. I don't know all the technicals for rights and stuff, so.
4 is one of my favorites too. I love 4.
4 was so much fun. So we like after ranked Scream now that we could, and we left 1 out because 1's the best. But 4 is one of the tops. It was just so much fun. And then Scream with the bangs, Scream 3 with the bangs are down at the bottom.
Oh God, the bangs.
They made Courtney Cox so dirty, man. They're like,
they really did, bro. They really did. They really did.
Well, everyone's got to go through that phase to realize it's not for them.
I mean, but how can you have a famous Hollywood reporter, or not that she's from Hollywood, so like a famous reporter, so she's on the news. Gail Weathers knows how to look good, and they did her
Yeah.
dirty in 2 with her hair, and then they decided they needed to do her dirtier and chop her bangs that close.
There we go.
So I'm glad they finally figured the hair situation out after 3 and started giving her a good haircut, but she had like the thick like highlights in 2.
Yeah, the streaks. When David Arquette is like,
Streaks.
when Dewey's like, nice streaks.
And then they gave her the micro bang, and I'm like, come on, Gail's not that bad. I read 3 books again. We're going into summer, so apparently I'm hitting my stride. First one was a long one. It was from Joe Hill, which is Stephen King's kid, and I've been calling it NOS 4A2, like a dummy.
You didn't know what it was representing?
No. And then, of course, it's on audiobook, so I'm driving, and they're like, now presenting Nosferatu, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so dumb.
Well, I enjoy Nas drinks, so that energy drink.
I have no excuse for not knowing it. I would, like, spell it out, and I even,
Oh my god.
I sat there to one of my coworkers, I'm like, what would you call this? And they went Nosferatu, and I was like, I'm just gonna go away now forever, thank you.
It's okay. No, come back to us. Come back to us.
Well, because I wanted to read the book before I saw the TV series. I know the TV series is like hit and miss and did pull off from the content it's off of for a little bit, but I still want to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a woman with perceived or real supernatural powers trying to save her son from a vicious supernatural killer who kidnaps children from their families to bring them to Christmas land. Book was great. The narrator was amazing. Sometimes with audiobook narrators, you get it hit or miss, and she did a fantastic job. It was such a fun ride. Pun intended, because it's a car plate. Second book, amazing. It's How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix, and this came out in 2023. I know I've said like I'm kind of hit or miss with Grady Hendrix because he has his moments where it just gets a little too descriptive. And this was really different for him. It navigated sibling relationships, navigating the death of their parents, and clearing out their childhood home to sell it. But mom has an obsession with creepy puppets and dolls. And just kind of going through that, and it reminded me a lot of Poltergeist a little bit. I think it was just simply because of the clown in Poltergeist. The main doll, I kind of assumed would look like that clown. So I think that's why, but it was really fun. It made me text my little brother to remind him how much I care for him.
Aww.
And I'm not sure if that's because the brother Mark is a bit of a goofy guy, and my little brother is a bit on the goofy side, and Louise, who's the sister, is a little bit of a control freak, which I have my moments of being a control freak, so maybe that's why. And then finally, last book I read was How to Be Eaten, and it's by Maria Adelmann in 2022. Sounds a bit dirty, and there are some dirty scenes in there, but it was more following a group of fairy tale heroines on the after of their happily ever after and giving it a realistic dark twist. I like the idea more than I like the execution.
Mm.
So one of the stories that I've never heard of, and it's all based on like Grimm's fairy tales, so it's on the darker side.
Okay, yeah.
Really cool, but the stories were like supposed to be modernized, and they would just change things to be modern. So try not to like ruin anything. Like one of the stories, they simply made the main bad guy a tech giant instead of a rich prince. And then nothing else was really changed. Like I didn't reread. I read it for the first time in Grimm's, and I was like, this is literally the same thing. So I was a little bit bummed about that. And then there's another character who does not have an exact link to a Grimm's fairy tale. And I think the author chose to add her story to kind of link the rest of the girls' stories together as an anthology, like what Trick or Treat does, where they're able to have each character somehow cross each other's paths, and her story allowed that to happen. And I wish that she just would have like found a way to link it a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I also recommend it if you like fairy tales and you're into Grimm's. Like, it's a fun interpretation of things, even though the interpretation is simply putting it in the modern times.
Cool.
Yeah. So that is May for me. Nikki, what about you?
All right. So, couple movies and one book here. So I've been kind of on this journey. Like, you ever feel like you can never catch up on horror movies? Like, we have a horror podcast where everybody knows us as the horror people, right? Like, all of our friends, you know, we're the horror person. But then, like, you're like, oh, but I've never seen that movie, and I've never seen that movie. So I literally like wrote out a list. And there's this cult classic called Slumber Party, apparently from 1982. Never seen it, heard of it, but just hadn't gotten to it yet. So I ended up watching that. And then I ended up watching a remake that they did recently in 2021. And it's about a power drill killer. And so these girls, I don't know if they're a part of a sorority or what, in the remake, in the original and in the remake, they get together and have this slumber party, and then this power drill killer shows up and just all hell breaks loose, right? So, but in the 2021, I guess you don't really have to see the 1982 one, but it is kind of cool to watch both back to back, because then you see this insane twist, and you know your girl loves a twist. So there's this really crazy and unexpected twist in the 2021 one, and it's on Shudder. I also was on Shudder a lot this month. I guess we were all up on Shudder this month, but it's really cool.
Finally, like, because of the awards show, we're like really putting good stuff out to get people.
Yeah, they really were. Because sometimes I scroll through it and I'm like, whatever. Yeah. But this month I was really like, okay, cool. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth the watch. But I would watch 1982 and then watch the 2021 just so that twist really like impacts you. It's really good. I enjoyed it. Next, I watched Infinity Pool, which was from this year. It wasn't streaming free anywhere, unfortunately, but I had some Fandango credits from going to the movies so much that I had some Fandango app credits that I was able to use on Vudu, which is like an app that you can rent like newer movies on. So I was like, oh, hey, what the heck? I'll use them or whatever. It has Mia Goth, who of course is emerging as one of our newest Scream queens, and Alexander Skarsgård. Man, and Courtney, I know you saw this one too, so feel free to comment anywhere. But at first I was really into it. I didn't think I was going to like it because I'm like, oh, it's going to be one of these artsy things, you know? And I'm like, I'm not going to like it. But it had a lot of science fiction-y kind of element to it. And at first I was like, man, I was like really invested in it, you know? And you know, that was like the twist. Had another twist in it. It was really cool. And then it just took this turn. And I just had this, like, I felt so uncomfortable. And I hadn't felt that way watching a horror movie in a while. Because, like, most things, we talk about it all the time. Like, all of our triggers and all of our things that we like and we don't like. Most things I don't really bother me. But, like, my skin was crawling, man. Like, I had this, like, sense of dread the whole time. And, like, this might be weird to say, but like, it's not a feel-good horror movie. Like, when I put on a horror movie to go to bed, I like to watch my classics. I watch, like, you know, I like to watch my 80s stuff. I like to watch Michael and all these things. Like, a feel-good horror movie that, like, I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. Like, when we went to go watch Scream, I was so pumped up. I was so excited. Like, it's a feel-good horror movie. This is not. This is like your skin's crawling. Gross. You feel gross. I felt this like extreme sense of like secondhand. You ever get like a secondhand like embarrassment or like sympathy for someone? There's like nothing you can do, but you're just like watching it and you're like, Anyway, it is worth it.
TikTok has been calling it good for no one. Like,
I
good
like
for no
that.
one films.
I like that.
And you're just like, you feel good for no one.
Yep. This is what this was. Like, started out, I was like, hell yeah, this is awesome. And then it took this turn and I was like, oh, when is this going to end? I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this. But I definitely think it's worth a watch. Like, Mia Goth, Alexander Skarsgård, the acting's phenomenal. It's just, man. Ugh. I watched a movie on Hulu from this year also called Clock. And it has some pretty cool casting of like actors you haven't seen in a while. Like, if you ever watched Glee back in your day, the blonde from Glee, Quinn, she's the main character. Yeah, I was. Okay, I'm a total horror nerd, but I love musicals. Like, and I love singing. I love musicals. Like, yeah, I was a total.
I feel like
Glee,
I'm learning
yeah.
so much about you, and this is right? Magical.
All right, now I'm shutting down. No, I'm badass and hardcore. I'm shutting down. No, I do. I love
a musical.
I love musicals. And side note, I just found out there was an Evil Dead musical, and I was like, what?
Same. We have to find a way to see it.
We have to find it. Anyway, so it had Quinn from Glee, and it had, if you're an Office fan, it had Jan from The Office, Michael's boss from The Office. So like, I thought that was cool. But anyways, it's about a woman that enrolls in this clinical trial to try and fix her broken biological clock. And I read this and I'm like, oh Lord, here we go. So this kind of, I'm going to go on a small rant, a tiny fraction of an Austin rant, but like this kind of like spoke to me as like a woman who does not want children. Like, I just don't, it's not for me. If you want children, like that's your thing. That's your life. Cool. It's not for me. But society and people have this way to just, when are you having kids? And how many kids do you want? And one time this guy said to me like, oh, so like, it's just going to be you for the rest of your life. Like, you're not going to have, like, he's like, you're going to get really bored. Like, you're not, yeah, this guy that was in the army with me, he's like, you're going to get really bored. Like, you're going to want more than like just you and like a partner. Like, you have to have kids. And I'm like, bro, yeah. So like the beginning of this movie starts out like that for her. Like she's at her friend's house and all these women are talking about their kids and just asking her. And I was like, oh God, I just felt this in my soul, you know? So just stop asking people when they're going to have kids. Like, just stop. So anyway,
like, you don't even know, like, if they're even trying
or if they, yeah, what if they like were trying and it wasn't working or like, you don't know. So anyway,
someone who desperately wants children, like, maybe you should have kids, and they're like,
yeah. So side rant on that one, but like that's how they started the movie. Like, she couldn't have kids, and then she didn't even know if she wanted them, but she was feeling pressured and all of this. It was more of like a psychological horror, which isn't really my type of horror, but this really was entertaining. I would call it for myself more of like a background horror movie. Like, you ever like, you're scrolling your phone or you're like doing something and you kind of have a movie or show in the background. This is that, like, you didn't really have to pay like 1000% attention to it, but it was very like psychological. And it was like, is she seeing these things? Are they real? What's going on? But it was entertaining. I will say that. So if you need like a background movie, go for that. And my last thing, I'm on my book and movie combination. So this month for Horror Book Club that I go to every month, we did The Mist by Stephen King, which was a short story, a novella that he had in 1980 from one of his kind of books, The Skeleton Crew, that has a bunch of short stories in it. So I was really excited, really, really excited to read this because I had seen the movie like way back when. I hadn't really remembered too much of it. It's from 2007, the movie is, but you always remember the ending. Oh
yeah. My gosh.
I mean,
you always remember.
But the ending, I love the ending.
Bro, most insane ending in horror movie history. But I enjoy it because
Same.
We always get this final girl. We always get this, oh, they defeated whatever. But is that true horror? Like, sometimes you need this like insane, depressing, crazy ending. And this has it 1000%. Not in the book.
Mm-hmm.
The book's ending is different. But I really loved the book. It was short. It was easy to get through. It was honestly one of my new favorites from Stephen King. It is really good. Like, he describes these creatures coming out of the mist, and just the way he describes the imagery of the creatures, the sounds that they make. I love it. And I love like a science fiction-y element too. So, and it had giant insects. So, that made your girl happy. So, but loved the book, loved the movie. The movie's a little long, but it's effective and it's really good. Great casting. And something I really liked about the movie is they had like I love to see this in a book movie adaptation, is when they do lines straight from the book. Because like I had just finished the book the day of when I went to book club and watched the movie, and I'm like, oh yeah, like, so the lines were like fresh in my mind, So I just always think that's really cool. I love that. So that was it for me.
I think that's such a cool idea for a book club.
I love it so much, man. And now the book club is on Discord. So yeah, I can send that out if anyone wants to join. You don't have to be from Colorado to do it, but that's like their thing, is they will read a book that's like 250 words or less, so you can get through it in a month. And then we watch the movie and discuss and all this. So it's really cool.
250 words or pages?
Pages. Oh, it got me all screwed up.
250 words in a month? I can do that in a half hour.
I was like, I'm there, dude.
Like,
all right,
dude, short stories. Here we go.
You're signing up for the book club.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. I'm glad they're moving online because.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool.
So then you guys can talk on Discord as you're progressing through the book. Talk about it, which is good. Instead of the monthly meets or weekly meets.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Monthly. Yeah, the last week.
So
of
you
the
guys
month.
can interact a lot more often. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. I love it.
Oh,
so that's it for me.
We're excited for, or what's the next book y'all are covering next month?
Next month we're doing I think it's called The Huntsman. I literally just ordered it online when she announced it. And I think it's kind of science fiction-y, and it has they really try to put some kind of like social commentary stuff in there. Like this book that we're doing next month is it has a lot to do with trans rights. Like transsexual. Yeah, Manhunt. What did I say? I don't even know what I said. Yeah, Manhunt. Did you read it? Did you read that?
I tried to.
Oh boy. Oh no. Oh no.
No. It's there's just certain scenes in there that I don't like really drawn out sex scenes.
Yeah.
And there were some really long drawn out, and it wasn't like sexy romantic things where they kind of adjust it to the lens to make it a fun time. The author does a really good job because it is a post-apocalyptic book.
Post-apocalyptic. Okay.
Make it a little bit more less sexy because that's real. And for me, I just couldn't. There was one where I was just like, we were describing a lot of fluids that I do not enjoy right now. And I will sit there like I think the book, definitely read it. I want to get back into it. I missed it for my book club. They did kind of were like, the sex scenes don't stop. And I understand why, because that's such an innate human behavior to engage in that. And it was a really cool conversation around it. But I just, hearing about like cum on someone's inner thigh, I was like, you know what? I'm out, man.
I don't really need to hear about this.
Are we talking a shaved thigh, a hairy thigh? We talking left or right?
He has to get into the semantics of it. He just
it was dried, and that for me was enough.
But was it still tacky?
Yeah, it's a little much.
No, it was dry and crusty, Austin.
Oh, okay.
Like that is the most unsexy description for me.
Yeah, that's yeah.
So I apparently need people showered. Which, if we're in a post-apocalyptic life, is gonna be really rough for me.
Your girl's done. Your girl's done. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, first wave, man. Like, I am not
she's-
making it to the
she's
dry,
gone.
crusty cum moment in my life. I will off myself. And for the darkest episode we've had.
Right? We're getting darker and darker by the episode.
They're like, June will lighten it up, maybe. I want to hear
We'll
your
try.
thoughts on the book,
We'll
Nikki.
try. Yeah, I'll let you know. There's no movie that goes with it, so I'll have to find some other movies. But my last thing, I'm really excited for the Boogeyman. That comes out next weekend. Yeah.
June
And
2nd, unfortunately, I'm in the mountains.
Oh, you are? Oh, dang.
He's so bitter.
So I'm going to try and read, that is also based off of another short story by Stephen King, which I have his book called The Night Shift. That's in there. So I'm going to try and read that real quick and then go see the movie next weekend. So I'll let you know how that is in June.
Say nothing, because I'm going to try to see it the weekend after.
I will say nothing. I will say nothing.
Austin, what about you? Anything horror-wise you're looking forward to?
Dude, my agenda is so nearsighted. I don't even remember anything that's going on.
What is
the newest thing on my agenda? I got Comic-Con in July. That's what's up.
All right. Well, this is what we consumed in May and kind of what we're looking forward to for the summer months. If there's anything we missed or anything you want to hear more about, dry cum included, let me know or let us know. And we will have our socials linked in the show notes, as well as Austin's new TikTok, so you can watch the rant, Crime Against Movies.
Yeah. I made that rant right after watching the movie, so everything was fresh and much more in depth of a rant than this was.
I'm gonna have to watch it. I like to watch TikToks on silent, and so
I'll start adding the closed captioning. I'm sorry.
Please do.
Oh gosh,
because I watch TikToks at like midnight.
I think most people do.
Yeah. Gotta be inclusive, Austin.
I'm sorry.
All right, y'all. We will see you in June.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.